Good morning, Sonny. How are you?
I'm good, Hugh. How are you?
Well, I was great. I spent Father's Day. My Father's Day gift was to allow me to go see Guardians of the Galaxy before it got booted out of theaters everywhere. And I was mildly amused. That may have spun out, right? That series of jokes may be done. The soundtrack wasn't even good like the first two soundtracks, Sonny.
You didn't like Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Hugh?
I
That was
did. It was just kind of it's done. I don't know that I'll go
yeah.
to another one.
Well, I mean, this is kind of how I think this is how the general public feels about a lot of the Marvel stuff at this point. I mean, I like Guardians 3. It's pretty good. That whole series, that whole mini franchise, is maybe the best of the Marvel
I
stuff, at
agree.
least the most consistent. But it's just crazy how much there is now. Like there's a new Marvel series on Disney Plus now called Secret Invasion, and it
Oh no.
involves the plot of it is basically Samuel Jackson's Nick Fury is trying to stop a Skrull invasion. Now, what are the Skrulls? The Skrulls were the secondary villains of like the 18th best Marvel movie, Captain Marvel, that came out 5 years ago. I'm just watching. I'm sitting here watching this show, Hugh, and I've seen all this stuff. I've seen all these TV shows, seen all these movies, and I was like, I have no idea who any of these people are. I have no idea what is going on. Who are these characters? What are they doing? Eventually it kind of came back to me, but it just feels like such homework now. It
And you're a
feels like such
professional.
homework.
I mean, this is the problem. If Marvel movie characters have become the Looney Tunes of the 21st century, at least we knew who all the Looney Tune characters were 50 years ago, and we could pick out Bugs and Roadrunner and Tweety Bird, and everyone knew what they were doing and what their roles were, and they would make the regular gags. But if the universe has gotten too big of the characters, you don't really know where to pick up. It takes you a while.
Well, and look, here's the thing: the secret of the MCU was always that it was basically a television series. It was basically a
Yes.
television series, but at the movie theaters. Each season of TV was two to four episodes a year, and there were big events, and you'd go see them in theaters, and it was easy enough to catch up with. But now it's that plus 2 to 4 seasons of actual TV every year. I mean, it's just too much stuff. It's too
All
much
right,
stuff.
so let's move to
Um,
something else. What should people
yep.
see this weekend, which is really the first weekend of summer because summer came in the middle of the week?
Hugh, summer in Hollywood does not start with the longest day of the year. We're not judging things by summer's been going on for a month now, month and a half. I mean, you could even maybe start it all the way back at the debut of Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but it is officially summer now. We are in summer. There are no actual. It's funny. There are no actual big movies out this week. Everyone cleared.
What? We lost Sonny. We lost Sonny. Oh my gosh, Sonny is gone. That's a sad thing. Sonny, we hardly knew ye, and it had that sound of someone who hung up on themselves by mistake. So he's back, Sonny.
Hey,
There are
yep.
no actual movies that are blockbusters on the first weekend of summer. That's sad.
No big blockbusters. Everybody cleared the path for the Flash, which is terrible and getting hammered by critics and audiences alike. I kind of like it, but everybody else seems to have hated it. So you got a couple smaller movies out though. We've got a hard R-rated comedy starring Jennifer Lawrence, No
Oh,
Hard Feelings. That is kind of a classic, almost 1980s style throwback, or maybe 1990s. Farrelly Brothers. Again, hard R.
is
There's
that for nudity
nudity
or is it for
and
violence or is it for both?
nudity and f bombs and everything like that.
All right.
The violence is cartoony. The violence is cartoony. I would not. I would not say it's rated R for the violence exactly, but definitely don't. This is not one to take the kids to. This is an adult movie, and
Good.
it's funny. It's funny. It's fun. I like Jennifer Lawrence a lot. She's a a genuinely charismatic delight. I will be very, very curious to see how this movie does at the box office, because it's the sort of thing.
What's the name of it?
No Hard Feelings. No Hard Feelings.
Okay.
It's the sort of movie, costs $30 to $40 million bucks. Appeals to adult audiences. Is star-driven, kind of high concept. The concept here is Jennifer Lawrence plays a 30-something who, in order to receive a car, has to seduce and sleep with a young man before he goes off to college at the behest of his parents. It's fine. It will be very interesting to see how it does, because
that's not a great premise to get people into the theaters. I think maybe it works. We'll see.
Well,
Give me something else. I'm not going to tell the fetching Mrs. Hewitt, let's go see Jennifer Lawrence seduce an 18-year-old. That's not.
Yeah,
really
Well, it's failure to launch is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is a raunchy comedy. So these things are
Not a rom-com, a raunch-com.
A raunch-com. The other release out this week, hitting theaters wide, is the new Wes Anderson movie, Asteroid City.
Oh.
So here's the thing, Hugh. I love Wes Anderson. I'm a big Wes Anderson fan.
You and me both.
I love The French Dispatch. I love. I just rewatched The Grand Budapest Hotel.
I think that's the best. Yeah.
I love his movies. So I was very excited for Asteroid City, and I gotta be honest with you, this movie does not work for me at all. This movie did not work for me at all. So kind of like The French Dispatch and The Grand Budapest Hotel, it has this weird story framing device. Asteroid City is a fictional town in the desert Southwest where nuclear tests happen and an alien comes. And it is we're watching this alien show up, and the people dealing with it, and the government putting people in quarantine. And it's kind of a quirky comedy, but what we are watching is an adaptation of a stage play, and the way the movie is kind of framed is we are watching a television documentary about the making of the stage play. So it's got this kind of nesting doll device where we're watching a story within a story within a story with some flashback to some other story. And I have a feeling if you are a student of mid-century American stage work, there are a lot of things in this movie that will make much more sense to you than they made to me.
That's kind of a small audience, Sonny.
Yes. I mean, and look, you could argue, well, The French Dispatch might only appeals to people who know the history of the New Yorker, but I don't think that's true, because I think it was telling a discrete series of stories within the framing device of here's one issue of a magazine, and it was kind of interesting.
It's also a every literary magazine ever written. Yep,
Exactly. And I really think Asteroid City will only work for those who have a decent working knowledge of, again, the American stage in like the 1950s. To the extent that I was like finally excited when I recognized somebody who was like, oh, that must be based on Elia Kazan, because that's the only person from the 1940s and 1950s American stage that I know can identify. Anyway, look, it is a very Andersonian movie. I mean, the cast on this is just absolutely stacked. You've got Jason Schwartzman, Scarlett Johansson, Tom Hanks, Jeffrey Wright, Tilda Swinton, Bryan Cranston, Edward Norton, Adrian Brody, Liev Schreiber. I could keep going. I mean, it's a great cast, and they do kind of interesting work. It's very clipped and mannered and precise in the way that Anderson's movies can be. And again, it feels like they're doing they have the sort of affect of stage actors as they're performing their work. And
all right, we're done with that. I got to ask you a quick question before we run out of time. Mission Impossible. Yep. I saw the first ad for it. I didn't even know there was a Mission Impossible. At what point is Tom Cruise going to stop this?
Well, I mean, these movies are pretty big hits, Hugh. I mean, they're they're making a lot of money. I think this one is going to be a pretty big hit too. I think this is it's one of the few big blockbusters people are really looking forward to this week. I think Indiana Jones is going to struggle at the box office.
That's not going to fly.
I
He's
don't
great
think that's
in
gonna be great.
1923 or whatever that is, and that's fine because he plays an old man. This does not. The trailers does not work. I'm just wondering whether or not. And does Tom Cruise ever say, at some point I just want to do something else, sit on a beach, do something besides Mission Impossible and Top Gun?
I don't think Tom Cruise knows what it is to sit back and relax. I don't think that's part of his.
But I mean, does he
DNA.
ever make a movie that isn't a blockbuster action adventure movie?
Well, that's an interesting question because he really did have. He used to have a much more interesting and varied career, right?
Right.
He used to make a lot of, like Tropic Thunder or Born on the 4th of July, or there's all there.
He could be in a Wes Anderson movie, but he doesn't do any of that stuff.
No, he's pretty locked into the big budget spectacle style filmmaking.
Yeah, there's a Tom Cruise living in Tom Cruise's head that says, I got to do this. Sonny Bunch, I want everyone to get the two podcasts down correct. Am I right? Across the Movie Aisle and The Bulwark Goes to the Movies?
The Bulwark Goes to Hollywood, yeah.
The Bulwark Goes to Hollywood. Those are available. Are those once a week or twice a week, Sonny?
They're once a week. So if you just look for them on iTunes, you'll find them there.
All the movie podcasting you need and the two movie podcasts that Sonny Bunch participates in. Thank you, Sonny.